for me, it's like all the early 60s and 50s and 60s early era guitars were the most iconic brand for me. And 63, selfishly, is the year that I was born. So it's like there was a lot of great Strats that came out of that year right there. So I haven't really seen a whole lot of 63 guitars, and I thought, man, this might be a good time to introduce that to people that would, maybe born the same time as me that really like that year guitar. And it's basically a stock-looking vintage 1963 Strat, and I chose to go with like the faded two-tone burst, which I really dig. There's a lot of people, the younger crowd today, are looking for going back to the vintage vibe guitars. There's so many of the newer guitars out there with all the hot rodding and stuff like that. It was like, but I see a lot of people using a lot of the vintage guitars again in recordings and touring and stuff like that. So it's like, why not give them something like that with a little bit more going on underneath the hood? But I decided to change a few things on it. So I decided to go with a 12-inch radius neck, which is a lot flatter. It's a lot better for bending, and there's a lot of people that I know that are bending these days and in the industry and stuff like that. And it's a great rhythm guitar as well. I use larger fret, the 6100 Dunlop wire that I like to use. Regular standard strings, 10 through 46. The vintage bridge, but the vintage bridge has been modified, from day one. Leo's concept was a great concept for bridges and stuff, but I wanted to change it up a little bit just for a little bit of a better tonality. And so I added a brass block to the bottom of this, and I've just been reading and hearing so much about it, and a buddy of mine sent me a block, and I stuck it into one of my guitars. So I've been experimenting with this kind of stuff at home and with my own equipment and stuff like that, and I just noticed right away the guitar sounds a lot more alive. And it seems to resonate really well. And then we go to the pickups selection. These are my JC Limited pickups that I've used on hundreds of guitars that I've made in the past few years, and I've been getting a lot of good reviews on them, and people are really digging them. So I figure, why not keep going with it? It's got more output. The mids are a little bit more in your face, and you get like just a sweeter tone for like soloing, especially in the neck position. I kept with the 5-way switch to get all the classic vintage Strat sounds. But what I did is I changed up the wiring a little bit on it. This is, in a sense, turned into a master tone for all positions. When I play, I never really use the back tone. It's always up, full on. So I was like, well, why even mess with it? So I decided to put that into use, and I like to use a blend pot in this position here, and that's what I did. So it's a volume master tone in a blend pot. And in the number 1 position down here with the bridge pickup, you can actually turn it like you're turning it off, and what it's doing, it's turning this pickup on right here. So it gives you a great like telly spank type of sound. In the number 2 position off, of course, you get these 2 pickups, and when you turn it on, this goes to all 3 pickups. It gives you another multitude of sounds that you can get other than just the regular 5-way position. In the number 3 position in the middle, there's no effect at all. It's pretty much just the middle pickup. And the number 4 position, it's basically back to all 3 pickups again, or off you just get these 2 pickups, and the neck is just reversed from this. You get the neck pickup, and then on you get these 2 pickups again. The type of woods that I use for this guitar are a 2-piece offset seam alder, which is very typical of the early 50s and 60s. The seams are usually center seam right down the middle, but I wanted to do like an offset seam on a maple neck with a darker rosewood fretboard, and because it's a 63, it's a round lamb board, so you can see it's got that round lamb curvature to it, which is really typical of that year. And it does yield a little bit of a different sound, which is cool. It's a little bit more thinner type sound, but with an alder body, it just kind of balances out really good. You get the warmth from the alder, and you get a little bit more of the thinner type sound from the curvature of the board. The two-tone faded burst is really it's an iconic color. I mean, it wasn't meant to be that way. It was just a two-tone burst, but over years and years of sunlight, window light, taking on tour, playing in the bars, the smoke, everything, it starts to fade out a little bit, and that's kind of the vibe and look that I wanted to do with this Relic finish that's on here. I just kind of started it for you, and in my words, it's just you do the voodoo. That's kind of a cool thing, and you tell the story with the cigarette burns, or somebody threw a bottle at you while you're playing, and hey, there's that Nick from Chancey's Club in New Orleans, that kind of stuff. It's just we're just starting it for. We want you to add the story to it and tell your own story with the guitar.